In the new version 9.7 of Adobe Connect, there is a new Diagnostics page for running a test for participants, hosts, and presenters for connectivity before a meeting, as well as also to ensure that Flash is updated, and also the option to install the new Adobe Connect desktop application. We're going to give a quick demonstration of this via screen share. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and if you would like to make it full screen, go ahead and click on the 4 arrows in the upper right-hand corner. That'll make it for easier viewing. All right, so what we're going to do is we're first off going to visit the Adobe Connect Diagnostics page using Google Chrome to test. Now Chrome, I do have Adobe Connect Flash installed, and it is enabled. So we're going to see this page. Go ahead and we'll just paste in the link right here, and we're going to go ahead and then select Enter. Now, as I mentioned, since it does have Flash enabled and it is up to date, that's the very first thing it detects. And now it's going through the making sure it's able to connect to Adobe Connect servers, as well as also going through a connection speed test to see how much bandwidth I have available. Now, the last test that it's going to go through and do here that you'll see is if I have the Adobe Connect desktop application installed. Now, I'm going to get a warning that I do not have it installed, as well as also the ability to install it if I would like. What you also see here, as you can see, yep, it gives me the option where I can install the Adobe Connect desktop application. Now, in a previous tutorial and a previous video, we did explain that the Adobe Connect add-in is no longer called the Adobe Connect add-in. It's now an Adobe Connect desktop application that allows hosts, presenters, and participants to join a meeting. And if you would like to get more information on that, we recommend that you would go back and watch that video. But I could install the application here if I wanted. But also there is a new feature that allows me to perform an audio configuration test that will allow participants to run through the audio setup wizard without actually having to join the meeting. So this is an excellent tool and an excellent resource to go through the configuration for using a headset or a microphone if you're going to be joining through voice over IP. Now again, this is the test page if I do have Flash enabled on a browser. So let's go ahead and I'm going to switch to Microsoft Explorer, Internet Explorer here, which I do not have Flash enabled. And so you're going to see a slightly different page once I do copy and paste that same URL. Let's go ahead and let's just hit Enter. Now it's taking me to a new page here, and again, this is if I'm using a browser that does not have Flash enabled. In this case, it tells me that I can run the diagnostic test if I were to install the Adobe Connect application, or if I were to enable/install Adobe Flash. So I can do either one of those, and then I can run through the diagnostics test. I actually do have the application enabled, so what I'm going to do now is select Run Diagnostic Test right here. Now this is a setting through Microsoft Internet Explorer. It's going to ask, do I want to switch to the Adobe Connect app? I'm going to go ahead and select Yes, and then you're going to see a similar loading screen than what we saw previously pop up and then go through the configuration test. Now since I'm running the test through the application, it's going to skip the test where it's asking if I have the most recent version of Flash, and instead it's just going to make sure that the connection is successful and then go through the same connection speed test for bandwidth allocation. Now again, as you can see, without going into an actual meeting room, I'm able to do the audio configuration test as well as also run through the audio setup wizard to make sure that I have my settings for voice over IP enabled and that my equipment's working and that everything is connecting correctly. So I'd be able to go through the exact same steps as I would to see my speakers are working, make sure I'm able to be picked up by my microphone, everything that you would do in the meeting, but you're now able to do without actually having to join the meeting room itself. This can be very handy, and this can also be very useful. So that is the new Diagnostics test page for Adobe Connect 9.7. There is a link to the Diagnostics test as well as a brief rundown of it in the web links pod, as well as also a general what's new in Adobe Connect 9.7 that you can access. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us here in MeetingOne Support. We do have contact information up top in the banner above the screen share. And thank you very much for watching.